You family, and welcome to Wake Up Africa. My name is Dr. Mumbi Saraki. How you doing? How's everything going? I really do pray that you are well in all your ways and that you're moving into living in your own narrative, because your own narrative, family, that's the only vehicle you have to get you out of Babylon in time. That is the only vehicle you have, family, because this is a mental reality first. And what we're seeing with our physical eyes, what we're experiencing with our physical everything, the touch, the smell, is the manifestation of that mental and spiritual kind of process. And so if you're still at the stage where you're only living in this reality and this is all you're seeing and you're living a reactionary life, you're not going to make it, family, in the new dispensation. And you're actually risking going into becoming or remaining a slave. Actually, let me say remaining a slave, but those are stories for other days. You know, there's been this really sad story coming out of Gambia where right now, when I first read it, it was 66 children, but now it's 69 Gambian children have actually died due to kidney complications from an Indian-made cough syrup. Gosh, I can't even speak, family, because this is just so annoying. So what happened is, I think there was some kind of outbreak in Gambia of a flu or a cough or something like that. And a lot of parents rushed to the pharmacy and they got a particular syrup which was made in India to give to their children. And it caused, within a couple of days, 70 children had lost their lives due to kidney complications. And it actually forced the government to go door to door to door to recall the medication. Of course, the backlash, even in the media, made India say that they were launching some kind of investigation to find out how the cough syrup, even how it was made, why it's poisonous. They've launched an investigation, that kind of stuff. And, the health ministry announced on October 8th at a news conference in Banjul that 3 more children, that's after the 66, that now they had reached 69. And it was, they apparently they were made by New Delhi-based Maiden Pharmaceuticals, and it's just heartbreaking, family. The only good thing that has come out of this is a lot of parents have now returned to traditional medicine. You see, a lot of parents, even in the village, had abandoned traditional medicine because of this wave of modernity and how pharmaceuticals are more advanced than our traditional medicine and are better for our people. But a lot of our people now in the Gambia have actually returned to traditional medicine to kind of, help heal their children. And, the public health practitioner said losing nearly 70 children to acute kidney injuries due to contamination of syrups is not only unfortunate, but a clear manifestation of incompetence and carelessness on the side of relevant authorities. In all honesty, the Ministry of Health and the Executive Director of Medicines Control Agency should all give way to competent people to handle these positions. And that's the truth, family. As much as people wanted to blame the Indian pharmaceutical company, it also shows how corruption, the rot of corruption, is literally having our own people kill our own people. Blood take out blood. Because, when I went to Gambia, it's such a small nation. It's like one big family. Everybody knows everybody. There's like literally, that's why you see the 7 degrees of separation like in full effect, family. And the whole 7 degrees of separation is like, through 7 people, the whole world or something like that. I'll do a show on that. It's a very interesting idea, but it's more, I really think it reflects more of the connectivity of our people as a melanated global nation. But those are stories for other days. So, and different people came out and spoke. There's a nurse called Alhagi Sila who said the deaths were due to gross negligence. Imagine a so-called pharmaceutical company that is not licensed was allowed to sell its products only in the Gambia, not even in India where they are manufactured. It is pathetic. And this is the problem, family. This is the consequences of a morally and spiritually and mentally corrupt people. or having those morally, spiritually, mentally, and emotionally corrupt people at the helm of government. Because not everyone is corrupt on the motherland. Not everyone is corrupt in the Gambia. What happens is that the few that are corrupt are bold enough in that corruption that they kind of, that they spoil they spoil it for everyone. That corruption seeps into everything. Because if you have corruption at the top, it doesn't matter how pure and clean and honest you are in the middle or at the bottom. That will seep down because the head dictates everything that goes down. It's like you can have a sore toe or a sore finger and it won't affect the whole body. Maybe the pain you'll feel it everywhere, but it will just affect that area of the body. But when you have a mental issue, it affects everything, family. Because we're spiritual beings having this human experience. And I'm going to do a separate show on corruption. Because one of the greatest lies we've been told is that corruption started in Africa, that we are a corrupt people. That's always what's being shoved down our throats. This leader is corrupt, that president is corrupt, this is corrupt, that is corrupt. And we never see that Babylon is the one who is instigating that corruption, who is facilitating that corruption, who is literally taking out leaders for not being corrupt enough and standing in their way. And this is why I say, family, I've looked at every angle, I've researched, I've studied, and it all boils down to the narrative. And as long as the narrative is not in our hands, then all we can do is report about this and feel sorry for our Gambian family, or feel so today it's Gambia, tomorrow it could be South Africa, the other day it could be Uganda, who knows? Because we've accepted this concept, this narrative that we are a corrupt people or our leaders are corrupt. Can you imagine, family, the level you have to be at? We don't love our people because we don't love ourselves. Because our minds are in the wrong narrative. A lot of our leaders worship Babylon. They see Babylon as the advanced civilization. Many of them have no idea of the Pan-Africanist story, of the life before the Babylonians came. They actually even have accepted the story that we were worse off. We were less civilized, living barbarically in nature. Whereas now, all the research shows that from the way our ancestors built their houses to everything was the highest form of life. But we've been made to feel that the concrete jungle is somehow some kind of elevated living, family. And it's because we don't control the narrative. And we don't love ourselves. Imagine a Gambian going to Indian, or an Indian feeling comfortable enough to come to the Gambia, family, and sell medicine that they would not even sell for their own children. The Indian is to blame, but the African is also to blame. Because what? So you can make a little money, so you can build a house, so you can buy a car? Vanity, family. Pure vanity. And it's because at the core, the spirit is corrupted. At the core, there's even a distortion. We're being led by people who have no self-identity, no self-consciousness, no self-love. And that's one of the things you notice when you're in Africa. It's like the rich have almost this loathing for the so-called poor. And the only reason the poor are poor is because they're ignorant, and so they've allowed themselves to be led by other ignorant people. Or because they're able to buy a flashy suit and buy a glittering chain and a glittering ring. Like, it's painful, family. Because these children did not have to lose their lives. For what? For a few pennies? Because why would you bring such syrup in? Because we cannot blame it on the Indians, because also they had to have a Gambian counterpart. And that's how corruption, we have to see corruption. It's not so much about what the foreigner is doing, but it's what we're accepting or what even we're looking for. Because maybe there was someone in that Ministry of Health who was like, but you see, if we don't go for this known medicine and we go for this one, which is slightly cheaper, you and I can get $2 a bottle or $1 a bottle or even 20 cents, embarrassingly, a bottle, and we can make a little money here. And you see how we leave people, you see, because of this thing of this pyramid family and the fact that we're in this pyramid structure right now where the government governs the mental and so rules over all of us, that somehow the woman in the deep village is impacted by Babylon because the group consciousness says that a foreign medicine is better than the traditional medicine her family and her village people have been using for hundreds, if not thousands of years. If we were to study it logically, we would see that this is some kind of mental illness family. And our attention is being placed in the wrong place. Because we pay attention to, oh, the Indian is a bad man. But what about the African who made that deal with the Indian to bring in this, this medicine? Oh, Babylon is doing this to us. But what about those sellouts, those Oreos, those coconuts among us who are facilitating that, who hate us so much that they don't want a new Africa? They don't want Europe to fall. When they hear that, it makes them shudder. They're more afraid of that happening than the Babylonians themselves. And so family, when we look, the system is so broken that the only way to save our people, family, is by capturing that group consciousness. Because the group consciousness now says anything from Babylon is good, anything homegrown and local is inferior. That's what the group consciousness now says. And if we understand the 100th monkey effect, it means someone who has never even encountered a Mzungu, never seen a Mzungu, will still go and buy a foreign cough syrup that they don't even understand in the middle of freaking nowhere than to consult their traditional healers who have been healing the nations for so long, but that the group consciousness has been compromised. And if we are not focusing on the group consciousness, then anything we try and do physically is a waste of time. It's a waste of energy. It's a waste of consciousness. Because until we build back that spiritual foundation, family, these people should, everyone, from the minister to everyone, they should have been shaking in their boots. Do you see what happens in Asia? I mean, China has gone on this whole execution thing where they've been taking out very wealthy ministers, very powerful people in government who are corrupt. We've seen places like Japan where if they fail in any way, they immediately resign. And yet now, 70 children have died. And the Minister of Health is still there. Even the procurement officer is still there. No one has taken accountability. It's just, oh, this is terrible, this is bad. The human rights agencies are speaking, but there's no moral compass or moral landscape where the Minister of Health will feel like, I need to wake up in the middle of the night, call a press conference and resign. There's none of that. It's just like, oh my God, this has happened. It makes international news. You release, we're going to see who brought them in. And then it's business as usual. You see, until we get that right, family, everything else is a waste of time. Until our people, because this is a lack of self-love where, oops, it's almost like, oops, 70 children died. Okay, we'll collect the syrup, make sure no one else died. We'll it even came from India, so it's not really us. And we're outraged, blah, blah, blah. But there's no accountability. There's no humanity amongst us. The person who brought in that cough syrup and caused the death of 70 children is sleeping very deeply at night because corruption reigns. We acknowledge the ancestors in the wind, as always. Until next time, family. Tuko pamoja.